what I do at Kaiser Permanente is I have oversight of our digital healthcare programs. And so when we implement new systems, the goal of every system is to have a direct positive impact on all of our members' health. And if you look at what causes a lot of the problems we're seeing in healthcare today, they're deriving from a lot of disorders of lifestyle. We're seeing epidemics of obesity and diabetes, and associated with those comorbidities with epidemics of increased heart disease, stroke, cancer, and so forth. Health is really a subset of happiness. And if you look at what are the key ingredients to create happy people who tend to be healthier and make healthier choices in life, there are a number of things that really count. The first is having a skill that you feel you can help the community with. The second is feeling that you have a positive impact on your community. The third is feeling that the community appreciates what you do for them as a service. And most importantly is that you have gratitude for what you have in life. And so there's this whole cascade that derives from the satisfaction you get in being of service to your community. And so if you look at that as sort of a motivator of health and a motivator of healthy habits and a motivator of healthy living, you have to think about what is going on in the world today where technology is disrupting more and more jobs. So as AI and robotics begin to take jobs away, particularly entry-level jobs away, it's taking away the dignity and the satisfaction and the sense of community that people have, and it really is impairing their health. The kind of nurturing that comes from a really healthy family structure is being disrupted by a lot of the consequences of the digital economy and the disruption of family structures. But we need to have a much more skilled and self-starting workforce in the so-called gig economy, where more and more people do not have a single job. They do gigs in this gig economy, and they have to be flexible in how and when and where they work, and adaptive and resilient. And so if you look at where do we get the skills? When in the life cycle do we acquire those skills that allow us to be flexible and adaptable and collaborative and creative? And it turns out that there's a very good science showing that the skills around resilience and adaptability and flexibility and collaboration and creativity really emerge in the first few years of life. We also have a tremendous medical literature showing that early childhood experience, if there are prolonged stress, leads to inflexibility, leads to higher levels of stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. And those in turn lead to a chronic stress on the human body that leads to more disease. How can we reimagine childhood in ways that we bring those skills that are necessary to become a more effective part of the emerging workforce in the digital economy? Human nature is innately to be very creative and very inventive and very collaborative. If you look at anthropologic studies of primitive cultures, the amount of collaboration within a community, the amount of creativity within a community is profound. One of the observations that's been lost in this current culture of innovation is that up until fairly recently, a couple hundred years ago, everybody had to be incredibly innovative to get enough food and shelter to survive the next day and to support their families. It was only with the advent of the Industrial Revolution and jobs that people really ceded and abrogated their accountability for innovation to the job and the boss. And what we're seeing now is almost a back to the future